going to be all these cuts.
Okay. So you mentioned Leo had some sensory issues. Can you give me a few examples?
So Leo is very sensory when it comes to, like, food is a big one. Also, like, cold things that you sit on. I know that sounds so weird, but like potty training's been a hard thing to do just because the second he feels the cold seat, it, like, I don't know if it's maybe the texture or the coldness or what it is, but potty training is really hard to do. I've tried with his little, his little toy potties and the actual toilet. I've tried, like, when I use the restroom, I'm going potty, and try and show him that, like, there's nothing scary about this. This is normal. Like, we do it all the time. It's not weird, and he just hates it. So that's a sensory thing. I would say, I don't really know if you consider it sensory, but his play, like when he's playing with certain toys, when he's like in the zone, he focuses more so than I think the average kid does. Like when he's really interested in something he's doing, like he had buttons, and this is another sensory thing for him. Like I had like a pack of buttons because I crochet and make stuff, and so he found the bag and opened it, and he poured them all out on the bed, and then he like held my hand out, and then picked up all the buttons and put them in my hand, making sure to get all of them, and then would like swipe them off my hand, and then pick them all back up and put them in my hand and just do it over and over. And I remember one day I set a timer because like he gets so interested in these things that he ended up doing it for almost an hour, that he focused on that. And usually kids, they play with stuff and it's like 5 minutes with this toy, 2 minutes with that one, 10 over here, and it's, their focus is not very long. They play with stuff randomized, they forget toys, they don't really focus too much. But yeah, no, his buttons, he was like obsessed, and eventually like just with them being on the floor and they just got lost. But that would be a sensory. He loves cards. It's like a deck of cards like you at your house. He takes the cards out, and you've seen this firsthand where he'll throw them, or he just loves handing them to you, and then you drop them slowly over his head, and he likes to see things falling, or if there's like a clear container, like a Tupperware, or like, those dividers that go in binders that you could like put paper inside, he'll put them over his face and like walk around with them. And he's very censored. Like, also mirrors are a weird thing for him, because when he was really little, he used to kiss the mirror. So he'd see himself and kiss the mirror and just do it over and over again. The kid is obsessed with himself, like beauty guru. He is obsessed with the way he looks. Mainly his food though. In the morning, he's really picky. He used to, when he was like a really little baby, like when you do the purees, he would only eat the fruit. He hated the vegetable ones, which is crazy because you would think babies, like carrots, tend to be sweeter for a vegetable. But he did not like the carrots. He would only eat like apple, mango, peach, and even now, like I was making homemade oatmeal where I'd, like overnight oats, I guess you call them, and he would eat those, but it was really specific on the flavor. So like peanut butter, I'd have to make oatmeal mixed with peanut butter, and that's actually one thing he loves. Like it's really hard to find something that he actually enjoys that he'll eat multiple times, and so peanut butter was a big thing. So I would make his oatmeal in the morning with milk and oats, and then I'd get a ton of peanut butter and mix it in there. And the issue with peanut butter though is it gets really like thick when you mix it with oatmeal, so you have to make sure to put like double the milk than you usually would, because in the morning it'll be like thick. I don't know how to explain it. So he preferred it to be a little bit more of like a watery oatmeal. And so he would eat that. I haven't done it in a while, so I don't know if he still likes it or not. But like in the morning, it's waffles with peanut butter every morning. Grapes. He loves grapes. Like string cheese cut up, and then he has to have a Pediasure because he doesn't eat much. It's all carbs. He's not really taking vegetables. Meat, he doesn't really eat meat, and so he's just really, it's weird because I'll be eating food and he won't want to try it. I'll even be like, oh look, yummy, and he could care less. And it's usually beige food, so like chicken nuggets, waffles, peanut butter, like apples he loves because they're like white, they're beige, and corn dogs, just like very plain foods. And he likes pizza and SpaghettiOs, but I don't give it to him often just because I don't want him eating unhealthy all the time. But yeah, I would say food is definitely a big sensory for him compared to everything else.
Yeah. Would you say he's very repetitive?
Yeah, I would say he's very easy in the way of like his play. So like he'll stack blocks, push them over, stack them up, push them over. The buttons, he's very repetitive in those behaviors. I wouldn't say with speaking or I guess speaking is the main thing, but he's not very repetitive when it comes to most aside from playing. Or like he loves grapes, so every hour he tries to open the fridge and like he'll grab my hand and bring me to the fridge and like shove my hand in, or he'll find the grapes and he'll open them and hand them to me like, give me grapes. So he's repetitive in that aspect. Like he's very strong-willed and determined, and so there's a lot of things he wants to do that he can't always do, and when I tell him he can't, he gets really upset with me. So that's something that's kind of tough. But I guess repetitive in the things he likes to do. So I let him in the backyard one day. Every day he wants to be back there. So he'll always go to the back door and he'll grab my hand and put it on the door handle, like, let me out. So he's repetitive in that, and his eating habits are repetitive as well. So there's a lot of things he likes, but I think it's just probably a comfort zone for him and not necessarily too repetitive, aside from obviously he likes watching things fall in his face, so like the buttons, the cards. He also does this thing where we'll try and like introduce new foods because obviously I want him to eat better, and I'll put them on his plate and he'll smell them and then rub them on his lips. And I think that's also a sensory thing where he wants to feel the texture before he eats it. And so that's also an issue with food, is like if it doesn't feel right for him, he won't eat it. So I'd say that that's really tough a lot of times because I want him to try new things, which is really hard because he's so used to how things are that introducing anything new, for the average person, it would be easy, like, oh, I don't want to try that, or okay, fine, I'll try a piece. But for him, it's like absolutely not. God forbid his waffles touch something new I put on his plate. He won't eat that specific piece of waffle because it touched the food. So I would say that that's the only repetitive behaviors that he really has.
Do you think anything from your childhood has had an impact on how you parent?
Definitely. Leo is in an environment that I would consider to be extremely healthy. Like, he's free to express himself the way he wants. He can be who he wants to be. He has his outbursts, and I'll comfort him to the best that I can. And when I grew up, I did not have that kind of household. Like, Leo has both parents. I grew up with just my mom, and in a lot of aspects it wasn't healthy. Me and my mom and my older brother, we moved around from house to house, whether it was my aunt, my grandma, my uncle, we moved a lot, and so we never really stayed put for too long. And I didn't have the best childhood either. You know, when I was 11, I was put in foster care because of or my mom and her husband, or a guy that she met that we ended up moving in with in an apartment, or he moved into our apartment actually. But because of the things he did, he was not a good guy. He was abusive in every way possible that you can think. And so after running away like 7 times, finally, my brother was actually the first and the last to run away. And when he ran away that last time, or the second time he ran, they actually finally took us seriously and put us in foster care. So his childhood is very different than what I had. So it's kind of hard to compare, just because they're so vastly different. He has 2 loving parents who would do anything for him, and I had a parent who did, I would say, you know, she was a single mom, so I'm sure it was hard, and she did good for a decent amount of time. I think it was just when she met this person, she was manipulated and kind of coerced into being the person that she is now. And, you know, when I was 11 and got taken away, that kind of childhood is different too, because you have, I mean, God, you go home to home and you are moved around, and you feel like the people that are supposed to be there for you just really don't care. So even though you're like longing for that family unit, a lot of times that's not what happens. And so, you know, I'd say it definitely varies between the 2 of us. He has a healthy environment, and I did not have that at all. So I'd say it's very different. The way he's going to be growing up and how he is growing up is vastly different from what I had.
Yeah.